it drives me nuts, to be frank, when people say, well, the married priest is somehow divided, and he doesn't have time and he's got to double focus. Now, my response to that is always to say, well, are his family a bunch of unbaptized pagans going to hell? Because in serving them, presuming they're Christians, he is serving the church, right? In serving the domestic church, he is ipso facto serving the church. So there's no division of focus, and there's no diminution of energy.
Yeah, and we've all been in those communities where families are sort of driving the community, right?
Yeah,
leading.
And so, in serving the one, he is serving the other.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing to keep in mind is, I've never forgotten the homily of, some friends of ours, their wedding mass, Harold and Rebecca Visser in Ottawa in 1997. They'd gotten married in the Ukrainian Catholic Church in Edmonton, and then there was a nuptial mass in Ottawa for their friends there. I was invited to that, and the priest there, one of the companions of the cross priests, I forget who it was, but gave a homily in which I thought, this is one of the only homilies I've ever heard in which a priest really understands celibacy. And he said, in some ways, he was addressing himself to Harold and Rebecca at the time, particularly. He said, in some ways, you guys are choosing greater sacrifice than I am. He said, because as parents, you're on call all the time, He said, I come back from the parish council meeting at, 8:00 at night. I can turn my phone off and pour myself a drink and, fall asleep in front of the TV watching the football game. He says, but you guys, you're up at 3:00 in the morning when your kid is throwing up, or something else going on, and you've got that constant sacrifice there. So I thought, there's somebody who gets it. And I don't mean to set this up as a kind of a, who sacrifices more, right? Let's get into some kind of bean counting exercise. But just to say that, this idea that celibate guys are somehow able to offer greater sacrifice than married guys, I think just doesn't correspond to the facts. If you want to put it in perhaps more positive theological language, you would say the married priest has been given an opportunity by God to offer holy sacrifice twice, every day on the altar, and then on the altar, or the kitchen table, as it were. And so it's not this kind of diminution that somehow the celibate guy, has an advantage.